Hey everyone, welcome back to a special edition of the Infatuation Podcast. This is just going to be a quick little one. We wanted to update you on some things, and I have some special guests here to join us and talk about these things. I'll introduce first my sister, and then she can introduce our other special guests. So first we have Caryl again. You guys know Caryl. She's been on several times. Culinary consultant down in Los Angeles, California. Happens to be her birthday today, so happy birthday, Caryl.
That's the real reason for this podcast.
Yeah, she really wanted to interrupt her birthday to actually just go record something.
But yeah, can you introduce our other guest?
Yeah, well, I think some of you may have remember we talked about the Dumpling Mafia
Mm-hmm.
with my friend Shirley Chung. So Andy is the other third and founder of the Dumpling Mafia. We know each other quite a while. We go back to New York days.
Mm.
We met back when I was working for the Food Network and Andy was a writer with the New York Post. Since then, he's moved to Los Angeles a little bit after I did. And now, in addition to writing, Andy Wang he has his own podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So he's moonlighting on yours, called The Industry Only at the Cheese Store. Which is, I guess I should back up. It's named Industry Only after his other endeavors. So he's started these fantastic potlucks where chefs cook for other chefs on their day off. And the community here in LA is just super supportive. So everyone just tries to out hospitality each other. And there's caviar and truffles and sushi and fried chicken, like the most delicious food flowing everywhere. So I joke that Andy's coming after my job now, trying to be an event producer.
Well, welcome to the show, Andy.
Thanks. Happy to be here. Like I was telling you before Carol even got on, everything and nothing is always happening at the same time because, like your sister, it feels like I'm always doing 6 events at the same time now.
As you should, as you should.
Yeah.
But we are here to talk about another member of the Dumpling Mafia, and my audience will know her. She came on early on. She calls herself the podcast maker. Like she goes on podcasts, and after that, they blow up. And I don't know if we've exactly blown up, but I really appreciated her coming on early on. Is Chef Shirley Chung, Carol's good friend and Andy's good friend, third member of the Dumpling Mafia. But we got some bad news. Earlier this year, Shirley had some teeth trouble and some tongue trouble, and didn't think much of it, I guess, for a month or so, and then finally got a diagnosis that it's actually tongue cancer or lingua cancer. And it is pretty advanced. It's spread to the lymph nodes. So the options were, surgery, which would basically amputate her tongue. And if you know Shirley, she's a talker and a chef. So you take away a talker and a chef's tongue, and that's almost like a death sentence. So she decided to go the other route, which is treatment with radiation, or is it radiation or just chemo?
Both, I
I
think.
think both.
Intense, yeah.
So, and audience, you might not know. I mentioned it before, but my wife has gone through nose throat cancer before, so kind of the similar thing, and it is definitely no fun. So Shirley had to kind of temporarily close the restaurant with her husband, Miss Chi, in Culver City, and so Jimmy and Shirley are basically just doing this together without any income at the moment. And so that kind of brings us to where we are. Andy, you want to talk about what's coming up in the next few days?
Yeah, we're doing a fundraiser for Shirley on Sunday. So, I mean, if you want to come to this, there are still limited tickets left, but obviously you got to get these tickets in the next 36 hours or
Mm-hmm,
so.
mm-hmm.
It's just a bunch of Shirley's friends, chefs like Valerie Gordon and Duff Goldwyn and Kelvin Young who worked for her or cooking there. But our parties have a lot of support just from sponsors that care very much about hospitality. So there's a company called In Kind that funded Shirley's restaurant, Miss Chi, and has funded almost 2,500 other
Oh, wow.
restaurants. And they're bringing in a lot of their restaurants to this event too. Places like Chimilier, places like Prince Street Pizza, like Forage, which is run by Perry Chung, which is
Hmm.
another good friend of Shirley's.
Yeah.
And and I'm only naming about half the restaurants because there's 6 more, but nobody's really doing this for any reason except they want to, support this community and they want to support a chef that a lot of them care very much about. Like Katiana Hong from Yongbon worked for Shirley in Las Vegas and
Mm.
raised her hand to do something. So this is the type of thing that like a lot of our events, it happens organically, but obviously like this is a more important, much more urgent reason. And Shirley's very much a part of this industry only family, meaning a lot of the events that we did, the gatherings that we did as Dumpling Mafia, a party we did when we launched an NFT together, a charity event called Pop Off LA. Those in many ways were like the precursor to industry only. But up until the very end of Shirley being a functioning restaurant chef, and even past the point where really she should have been one, she was very much industry only. She came to Vegas with us, did an event during the World's 50 Best Week where she cooked with this lab-grown chicken Upside Foods. And the whole week that we were there, she was like posting, IG images of her hanging out at the pool, her doing prep. And when I saw her in person, she had a hard time talking. And she just basically said, I'm having a hard time talking this week. And I thought, well, it's Shirley. She otherwise seems fine, so whatever. She cooked through the whole event, and then a few days later, she told me what was actually going on with her because she didn't want me to tell her not to do the
Oh,
event.
right. Yeah.
Obviously,
Mhm.
she just wanted to just sort of be Shirley,
Yeah.
be the life of the party as much as she could. So, that will always be very meaningful to me, but it's not any more meaningful than like, the countless meals that Caryl, Shirley, and I have had, as the Dumpling Mafia in the San Gabriel Valley and all over Los Angeles, or taking Shirley to the opening of Mott 32, or sitting around during the pandemic and thinking like, oh, maybe we should figure out how to get on the blockchain together,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
plotting a restaurant called Dumpling Mafia that, will likely still open when we all get past this,
Good. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So this is really just about a relationship that, runs deep. And Carol and I are not trying not to get emotional here, but the reality is it's like this is one of our closest friends. This is the biggest challenge that she's ever faced and will probably ever face in her
Yeah.
life. And if we can do a small thing to help her, along with other things that we're going to try to help figure out, like, of course we're going to do it. And I'm just happy that, the community has rallied.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're doing this in Hollywood at a new venue called the Brownstone that used to be a very prominent large restaurant, like one of those crazy Tao group restaurants. So, I mean, we'll have space to have a party and we'll, have sponsored caviar, sponsored beverages, and as we said, some of the best chefs in LA just cooking for one of their friends.
Very cool. Very cool. So if you're in Southern Cal, get a ticket. I'll put a link in our bio as well, or you can go to Caryl or Andy's bio. You can get a link for that. But if you're not in the LA area and you'd like to help out, there's also what are we doing? We're doing a
It's a
PayPal.
PayPal. So yeah, so this event and this PayPal that we'll post, it's really just more of a crowdfunding for Shirley. It's not a charity, since as you mentioned, she closed her restaurant and she's not working right now. And obviously the medical bills are mounting and her
Mhm.
husband Jimmy is not working because they
Right.
closed their jointly restaurant. So yeah, so any support, this goes directly to Shirley's medical costs and just a cost to support her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, I think that Vegas story is exactly Shirley. She's just the Energizer Bunny.
I
So
know.
to think
Yeah.
of her being anything less than 110%.
Right, she's literally Instagramming like all her mise en place while she's cooking, and she's sick at the same time and refusing to tell me until
Yeah.
after the event's
Yeah,
over. I mean, that says a lot
That's
about
who
who she
she
it's on
is.
is.
brand for
That's who she
Shirley.
is.
Yeah.
You seen her recently? How's she doing? She hanging in there?
So she moved to Chicago.
Uh,
Real foodie people may know there's another very famous chef named Grant Achatz who famously cooked at the French Laundry and then now has Alinea in Chicago. He was diagnosed with the same kind of tongue cancer.
uh,
And same thing was told, your options are, this or, get rid of your tongue completely. And so he chose to fight it. He went to, I think, three different doctors until he found one that was willing to try it with him. And he was cured and he's in remission and he's healthy and living
okay.
in Chicago now. And Shirley also worked at the French Laundry. So she reached out to Chef Grant and immediately he was like, I'll put you in touch with my
Hmm.
care team. They've done it successfully and that's 8, 9 years ago. So now hopefully there's even
Okay.
been advances. So she actually moved temporarily to Chicago to undergo treatment there
Okay.
with Jimmy and her dog Baxter.
Okay.
And we're in touch with her, and like everybody else going through this, she has, some good days and she has some
Sure.
bad days, and
Yeah.
she's just weathering all right now. And she really wanted to come to this event, but it doesn't seem like she can really go anywhere until at least after
Yeah.
Thanksgiving. So this is what we've got, and then hopefully, we can do something in the near future with her in attendance as well. But like in the meantime, it's like, she needs our help. So this is
Yeah.
the least that we can do.
All right,
Yep.
so let's do it, people. So if you want to donate, I'll put the link to the PayPal in my bio. If you're in Southern Cal area, please go hang out. It's a somber event, but it's going to be a party still. It's definitely going to
Yeah, no,
be.
Shirley would want it to be a party.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure, for sure.
for sure.
All right. Hey, thanks so much for coming on. We're going to send positive vibes Shirley's way. So if you're listening now, everyone out there, send some positive vibes towards Chicago area and we'll get them to her. So thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
All right. Talk soon.